My apologies for the length of this video, but it's going to show a print sample of running through the generated print for the grants object. You can see there it just did the first pad on the side, on the left side of the wedge. I have shortened up the length of the traces going down the cylinder just to make this video go a little faster. Now it's going to do the pad that is on the outer edge of the left side of the wedge, and you can see it just did a little manipulation to get barely onto the wedge for one side, rotates down to the surface of the cylinder, then it just translates over to the side, which is a rotation of the cylinder to shrink up the lead going down the body. Now it's going to spin around and do the first pad on the right hand side of the wedge, which is the pad that is the whole way up on the flat surface of the wedge. The gray that you see in the background is because we have our body being transparent so we can see through it. That's the trace on the flat side of the wedge. And going back down and transitioning, shrinking the line at the same time we're coming down the edge of the wedge. That finishes the trace. And then we're going to do the right hand outside wedge, the one that trace that barely misses the wedge. So we'll do a little transition as we go right onto the edge of the wedge, and then we'll spin around and come right down the body of the cylinder. But it comes down and shrinks up the line of the trace again to the feed line. Now it's going to spin around to the center of the back. It does the center trace up the bump on the back first, and then it will do the left and the right traces on the back. And we can see that it's coming up the edge of the center trace, the actual left edge, I believe, and then it rotates around to do the right edge, and that one is centered on the bump, and it will go down the ramp to the bump to shrink up that line. Now it will do the left hand trace on the bump, which involves a little bit more of a transition getting onto the bump, and then finishing up the trace on that rounded surface of the bump, and then it comes down. Now I purposely made the right hand trace on the bump the whole way around the cylinder, so what you're seeing now is it spinning the cylinder around to get over to the other edge of the bump. The timing in this is not based on true print timing. It just takes each move command and gives it 50 milliseconds for this preview. There's no calculation of actual speed. So we've arrived. Now we're going up for the right hand trace on the bump on the back, and we're doing the outside line of it first, then we'll turn towards the inside line, and this will just about finish up the print. And the print previewer will loop around and start over again. So that's going back up to the left hand of the wedge.